At Disneyland, none of the boats are what they seem. In fact, it's the exact opposite. The boats that look real are fake, and the boats that look fake, those are the real ones. And out of the 8 different boats you can ride on in a single day at Disneyland, only one truly sails free. Brickey here, and today we're uncovering a Disneyland design paradox. Because in a park built on illusion, the line between what's real and what's fake is only defined by what feels real to you. And friends, before we get started looking at every boat inside of Disneyland, do you a quick favor. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's the best way to keep going on these deep design videos with me. And you know what we do? We study Disneyland's past so we can better predict its future. Let's go. Let's start where Disney wants you to think that the adventure is real. The opening day classic, the Mark Twain Riverboat. It steams around Tom Sawyer Island and the whistle blows and the paddle churns. But this grand steamer isn't actually steering, nor is the captain, because beneath the rivers of America is a metal guide rail. A single underwater groove that keeps the Mark Twain locked on its course. The wheel turns, but the captain's not really in control. The only true control is the boat's speed. And to hit every beat of Fantasmic, the engineers, not the captain, know exactly what geographical landmark they should be seeing at every beat of the song, so that the Mark Twain always hits the grand finale right on time. And then there's her companion, the sailing ship Columbia, a fully rigged ship with masts tall enough to scrape the Anaheim sky. And it looks ready to cross the Pacific one more time, right? But it's the same story, a showboat hiding on a hidden track. In fact, the same hidden track, pretending to sail while quietly following the same steel path as the Mark Twain. It perfectly backs out from Fowler's Harbor, where it merges onto the underwater track. Once it's in position on the main track, the yield point gets switched off. Then it's ready to circle perfectly around Tom Sawyer Island to pick up passengers over at the same load and unload dock. Head into Adventureland and the illusion continues. The Jungle Cruise skippers love to joke that their boats are unpredictable, but they're the most obedient vessels in the entire Disneyland fleet. A concrete trench and a submerged rail guide every turn, every hippo attack, every cringy pun, perfectly timed. The skipper only controls their pistol and their speed. And over in Fantasyland, the Storybook Land canal boats look gentle and quaint, piloted by cast members steering through miniature fairy tale villages. Each boat rides on a central guide system, an invisible track that makes sure that the pilot's narration always aligns with what the guest is seeing. A simple switch on each boat allows the captain to move forward to the next vignette of storytelling magic. This little bit of control also allows them to sometimes pause when they know that boats are coming in and out of the dock at an irregular speed. So all the boats that are designed to look real, the ones with captains, sails, and steering wheels, are in truth elaborate stage props. They're hidden theme park rides designed as authentic boats. And trust me, as somebody who comes here by themselves and listens to people talking at Disneyland, they fool people every single day. This is one of the most overheard things I hear people talk about. Was that a real boat? Nah, that was a fake boat. The debate goes on and on. But this is where Disneyland fools most folks, because the boats that look like theme park rides, those are the boats that are the real ones. Now let me explain. Move from the rivers of America over to New Orleans Square and climb into the Pirates of the Caribbean, where all the boats, they actually do float. And they float freely. No hidden track, no steel guide, just water flowing through a carefully engineered channel. Disney pumps and controls the current with conveyor belts and hidden water jets, allowing every pirate ship to move independently, but also predictably. They bump, they drift, and they actually do sail through the attraction, where the first drop carries you under the Disneyland Railroad and out of the park. And the second drop reorients you for your voyage. And then at the end of your cruise, the lift brings you back into Disneyland, where there's one more slight drop. That slight drop is there because your boat creates the momentum that pushes all the other boats over to the dock, where all the boats can safely load and unload for another voyage through the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a Small World works the same way. The little toy boats bobbing along are indeed real free-floating boats, where Disney keeps them evenly spaced with subtle hydraulics and current control. But they're genuinely floating all on their own, not attached to any rails that would be hidden underneath. Notice the belts that help you dock and launch, where the belt pushes the boat up out of the water for a safe dock and then lowers back down and pushes you forward for your launch. And at the yield spot at the end of the attraction, there's little jets that help push the boats to the left and right channels. Disney creates the current and the influence, but these real boats make their own tiny, unpredictable decisions as they drift toward their final destinations. And then there's the fastest member of the Disneyland fleet, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, formerly Splash Mountain. And even though it looks like a simple log flume ride, it's a real boat gliding on its own through layers of pumped water. Lifts and drops steer its path instead of a mechanical track. And it's the only Disneyland boat ride that spans 2 different show buildings, using real currents to route you inside and outside, backstage and onstage, and up to the edge of the rivers of America. And after climbing over 50 feet, you plunge about 40 miles per hour back down to the river, all powered by the control of water and gravity, not rails. So the fake boats, the ones that seem like obvious ride vehicles, are the only ones that actually work like real boats, meaning they float on their own. They're not riding on a track, like a traditional theme park ride. They float, they drift, and even have to be towed when one stalls. And even though these are genuine, free-floating craft, there's only one boat at Disneyland that's truly free to perform 3 different hidden design functions that most guests will never even notice. I hear people all the time in the parks debate, is this a real boat or not? And 9 out of 10 times, they absolutely get it wrong. Let me explain why this boat does the most amount of work out of any boat inside of Disneyland. Today's video is sponsored by the Farmer's Dog. Last month, I shared with you how we switched Uncle Larry over to their real, fresh, human-grade food that's delivered right to our door. And ever since, he's proved every single day that he's happy. Before we take our morning walks and evening walks on the ocean, he's so excited to eat his good food. That's what we call it. That's what he comes running to. Larry, you want your good food? And when Larry's happy, everyone else is too. Feeding Larry, the Farmer's Dog, has become part of our rhythm now. Every morning, grab the pre-portioned pack that lives in its own container in the fridge, and Larry is already happy dancing before the bowl hits the floor. The best kind of design is when design itself is invisible. The Farmer's Dog system does exactly that. It creates an effortless daily ritual. The packs fit perfectly into the container, making it easy to track what's left. And when it's time to thaw the next pack, it's simple, smart design that makes life easier and creates the perfect routine. And the best part is the peace of mind, knowing he's healthy, happy, and eating real food. It feels like the best thing we can do for the happiest part of our day. And we want as many Larry days as we can get. If you'd like to try the Farmer's Dog, you can get 50% off your first box of fresh-made, healthy dog food, plus free shipping and 24/7 customer support by using my link or scanning the QR code. It is a subscription that renews automatically, but you can cancel at any time. Big thanks to Farmer's Dog for sponsoring today's video and for keeping Uncle Larry this happy and healthy. And again, use the link below or scan the QR code if you'd like to get 50% off your first order. Now back to today's video, and again, thanks to the Farmer's Dog. Wild card is the Tom Sawyer Island rafts. They're the only watercraft in Disneyland that are truly free moving. Unless you count the canoes, I put that in a whole other category, but yes, the canoes are real. Yes, it's not as much work as people think. The boats are long, very wax, they glide around the river, and they are absolutely manually operated so that they can pause and work their way around the bigger boats that are on a more calculated, timed track. Back to the rafts. No rail, no current pushing them, just a platform, an engine, and a cast member steering across open water. You'll notice the boat does a 180-degree pivot, because you load on one side of the boat and get off on the exact same side of the boat, but across the river. It's kind of like the little trick in the beginning of Rise of the Resistance, but on a boat. So therefore, that would mean that there'd be a arc track that goes over or under the track that the other boats go on. That's not possible. And if you'll also notice, when the boat is at port, they put speed on the boat, tie it up, and so that tension keeps the boat in one locked spot. So guests can board and unboard. Then when they're done, they pull off that rope, the boat already is ready to rip out and do its thing. But the rafts quietly double as part of Fantasmic. And also, this is the thing that most people don't know, they're also the service boats for the Mark Twain and sailing ship Columbia. If those boats are to break down, they will put technicians on one of the rafts, drive to where the bigger boat has broke down, let them board, service the boat, and then hopefully get the guests back around to the dock. Now, in the event that they couldn't get the boat fixed, then they would use one of these rafts to exit all the guests off of Columbia or Mark Twain as an exit strategy. So they're also part safety rescue boat as well. And during the nighttime Fantasmic, you'll notice that you'll see a minimum of 3 of these rafts in operation. But during the day, they typically only use one raft to go back and forth, and a secondary raft is over at the dock just in case they need it as an emergency boat. But that's only 2. So where would the third one hide all throughout the day, since Rivers of America is isolated inside of the park, no longer touching an outer edge? Well, that's one of Disney's greatest design tricks. Each night you'll notice that these boats during Fantasmic are used as set pieces. You'll see a scene from the Jungle Book, as well as This Is What Brings the Princesses out to their main performance. So you'll see Ariel, Rapunzel, Tangled, I've never seen it, as well as Snow White on the rafts. But again, that's 3, and we only see 2 of these during the day. That's because they have a hidden backstage area for service, maintenance, and storing. There's a waterfall that you go by on the Mark Twain or sailing ship Columbia, or even on the Explorer canoes. You also go past this waterfall on the Disneyland Railroad. Well, Disney has the availability to turn the waterfall on or off, because on the other side of this waterfall is a hidden backstage space that was installed when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge showed up. So that warehouse, hidden underneath a dirt berm, is where these boats go for their service, and is also where they are getting prepared for Fantasmic. Hidden right in plain sight all day long. I love this kind of creative problem solving. These little rafts are uncredited workhorses of Disneyland's waterways, performing so many different tasks. And they're the only vessels where the wheel actually matters. But in Disneyland's history, there was another real boat that guests would ride, but it's the only boat in Disneyland's history to ever fully capsize and sink. But that's a different story for a different time. So let's put it all together. The boats that look authentic aren't real, and the boats that look fake are the only ones that actually float on their own. And the smallest, simplest, easy to overlook crafts are the ones that are free to roam and are doing all the heavy liftings. The story of the boats at Disneyland are basically the story of Disneyland itself. It's never about realism, it's about control. It's about operations, all disguised as freedom. Disney doesn't build boats or rivers, they build the illusion of rivers and boats. Because in the end, Disneyland's greatest trick is convincing us that we're exploring, when in all reality, we're just all along for the ride. Watch this video here if you want to see how Disney designed the waterways back in 1955 so they would all flow together as one giant river known as the Dark Water System. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate you.